Good morning amigos, ¿cómo están? Su amigo Eduardo Trevino desde Los Ángeles, California. Estamos aquí en este momento en el salón Annabelle Beauty Salon, que está localizado en la ciudad del Monte. Y tenemos en este momento a la artista, a la estilista, a la educadora de Olivia Garden. La tenemos en este momento y la vamos a hacer una pequeña entrevista en pocos minutos, que nos diga quién es, de dónde viene y qué es lo que nos va a enseñar. Good morning, how are you today?
Good morning. I don't know how I follow that up, but it's always a really good morning when we get to dive into hair and do the things that we love with each other and just get into our craft. My name is Drea. I'm here from Northern California with Olivia Garden. I'm so grateful to be at Annabelle's Hair Design. Thank you guys for having me, and beauty sells because it does. And I am so excited to jump into tools, techniques that translate from fashion to behind the chair, things that are going to help stylists just build their business and connect with their clients and do what we absolutely love to do with the best tools in the business. So let's get started. I'm here for this.
Where you from?
I'm actually I just moved to a little town that I love called Sonora, and I'm actually right outside of Yosemite Valley in the foothills. I do have a little room in a condo in Balboa in Newport Beach, so closer to you guys.
Oh, you're here in Los Angeles.
A little bit, not that often, just for when
I'm so glad you close to us. Really, I'm very happy. What is the technique you want to show today with Olivia Garden?
Yeah, well, we're going to pack it all in. I do this thing where I think that when I teach a class, I need to tell everyone everything that I know and learned for the last 20 years. So we're going to be doing a shorter haircut. It's really a modern version of French European bob that we're going to be doing, and we're going to do a lot of versatility with that. So with our model today, we're going to be doing 5 different looks after we do a haircut. I'm also going to be doing a lot of thermal texture on our 2 long hairstyling models.
Sounds amazing. I like her. Thank you very much. Así que amigos, estamos aquí con esta bellísima educadora de Olivia Garden. Así que mis amigos que están cerca en las áreas, los esperamos. Vamos a empezar a las 10:30. Muchísimas gracias. Hasta luego.
Content on your page, or a new retail opportunity that you can have with your clients, or a service that you can make your own and put on your menu that wasn't there before. And then secondly, something technical, a tool, a technique, something that you can actually use on your client behind the chair. But I would love if any of you guys want to be brave and share something that you would like to get out of the class today and walk away with. And if you don't know and you don't have that to share, that's okay. We're still in January, so also if anybody wants to start with any inspiration, is there a word or a goal that you set for yourself for this next year in your business? Does anybody want to share any of those things?
Dice que lo que va a hacer ahora es diferentes formas de cortar el cabello. También hay varias formas de por ejemplo, elevación o elevación, múltiples capas y todo eso. Y también hay formas diferentes de estirar el cabello. Puede ser verticales, horizontales, diferentes formas de empezar el cabello. Lo que ella quiere es que aprendamos sus técnicas de ella y en un futuro para que ustedes lleven algo y lo compartan. Eso es lo que hacemos en las clases regularmente, ¿verdad? Venimos a aprender, a tratarlo y demostrar, ¿verdad? Y enseñar a otras personas lo que ustedes aprendieron. ¿Okay? Es muy importante que aprendamos y veamos si lo pongamos en práctica. ¿Alguna pregunta? ¿No?
No tenga miedo de preguntar, ¿eh?
Muy bien. ¿Está bien?
¿Todo listo?
¿Alguien quiere compartir algo que ustedes experienciaron o algo que ustedes quieran hacer, que han hecho diferente en el salón? ¿Alguien quiere compartir? Más adelante.
Están tímidas el día de hoy. Está muy tímida. Sí. Todas son angelitos el día de hoy.
Hoy sí se está portando bien. No, ustedes pregunten en su clase por qué lo hizo así, cuánto cabello se para, qué tan grande voy a hacer el rizado, y todo eso. Cualquier cosa no se les dé pena preguntar. Si no preguntamos, no aprendemos. La pregunta llega a no.
Ok, tienen una pregunta.
Ella va a decir algo.
I was just going to say, client loyalty would be my goal for this year, just so I can teach my customer how to do many different things with their hair, and they rely on me for that. It's all the fashion.
Well, you guys are part of the 5% getting more education, so I think that that's huge, and congratulations for being here on your day off. And that is going to support, your client loyalty, and you're going to be able to immediately tell them this whole week, I sat on my day off for 3 or 4 hours and listened and then listened a second time, for everything that was said all the way around. So when I came to the sides, you may have seen that kind of turned for the side a little bit. And there's a lot of things, like we can't take our client's head off and pop it and do what we want, right? We wish. So be sure that you just nicely hey, I'm going to pretend like this is mine for a minute, and you're going to be like my little bobblehead, so just know, just kind of go with it, and you can make it fun or make a little joke with it, but sometimes we're like, our backs and we're standing all day, and no, just move your client. Ask them if they have really long hair to stand up and hold on to the chair like this, and then you can cut behind them so that you're not working on your exercising at the same time. So I think just give yourself permission to do that. Ask your client, hey, do I have permission? I'm really going to need to get this exactly where I want it. I'm going to need to ask you to move around. A client with curly hair that wants volume, they're going to have to get up or slide to the edge of their seat and put their hair upside down if I'm going to diffuse it. There's no way I'm going to get this big, voluminous blowout while they're sitting there on their iPhone. It's not going to happen, right? So just be sure to let them know what you need from them to help them to get them to where they want. So that's one thing.
Algo muy importante que ella acaba de mencionar es cómo poner la cabeza en posición, ¿verdad? Que es lo que digo que tenemos cuando estamos haciendo ese corte, especialmente el bob. ¿Qué es lo que tenemos que hacer? Poner la cabeza un poquito hacia el frente, ¿verdad? Cuando cortamos el lado hay que hacerlo así. ¿Por qué? Para que no haya capas. Tiene que todo caer a la misma línea que es el cero, ¿verdad? Eso es muy importante hacerlo. Y dice que no le dé a uno pena porque hay que mover la cabeza así. Muchos clientes cooperan, muchos no cooperan. Si no coopera así, ok, hay que volver a hacerlo, no se sientan mal, pero la comunicación, decirle, te voy a estar moviendo tu cabecita para acá, manténla así, yo sí les digo, porque yo quiero un corte de pelo, ¿qué? Perfecto, no somos perfectos, pero se ve perfecto, ¿verdad?
No, y es tu imagen, es el sello que tú dejas.
Una vez que ella sale de aquí, ella me representa a mí. ¿Quién te cortó el pelo? Oh, me encanta, voy a ir con ella. Es mi, ¿cómo se dice?
Mi estilista.
Ajá, entonces, igualmente lo que les acabo de decir, el corte de pelo se empezó mojado y lo terminamos mojado. ¿Por qué? Porque no queremos desviación, ¿verdad? Entonces ella dice también que corta el pelo en seco. También podemos cortar el pelo en seco siempre y cuando vamos a tener menos precisión que cuando está mojado. Cuando está mojado ponemos mucha precisión y cuando está seco menos, ¿verdad? Porque el pelo ya regularmente, especialmente cuando te dicen un nada más recorte, ok, entonces seco y cortarlo, pero siempre y cuando revisar nuestro cabello, nuestro corte de pelo, que no haya puntos, no haya nada. ¿Por qué? Porque quiero que sea perfecto ese corte de pelo para que me siga recomendando y que regrese.
Perfect, thank you. So I'm pretty happy with this. I brought it forward. There was one point where I felt like this point came down a little bit farther, so I brought it back and I kind of found where I went wrong, and there was just a little bit that needed to be cleaned off. Pretty normal, so I went ahead and knocked that off, and I feel good about kind of my one length slightly over directed to the previous back section that drops almost like a slightly A-line bob if we're going to talk in, you know, foundational technology or terminology. So one thing I noticed I was doing where I probably went wrong right through here is I started combing this hair back out of habit, out of just not thinking and just combing it back instead of combing it in the direction.
Number one and number two now.
I don't know about that.
Okay, got it.
Perfect. So Eduardo asked me to talk a little bit about the shears.
Por favor, guarden silencio para que puedan entender.
The Silk Cut Pro is what I used, and it comes all the way up to 6.5 in length and shorter length as well. All of the Olivia Garden shears are made in Japan. It's super, super high quality, and they're always thinking about what we do all day long, every day. So I told you about my wrist, and I was using a shear that was a lot heavier. My thumb would get like a little bit of a callus on it or almost like a blister on it because of the weight and the way that it rubs. But all the Olivia Garden shears are made to be ergonomically correct for your wrist and your hand, so they're going to feel really good. Whether you want to use this or not, this is here to like support and stabilize. It gives you a little bit more control when you cut. The blades are actually specifically patented and designed to cut the hair in a way that helps with split ends, like so that you're not getting split ends as easily because of the way that the blades actually cross one another, and that is a Japanese design. So that is really, really amazing. There's different shears for different things. So we have a precision cut shear, and those come in shorter lengths. So if you do men's haircut or barbering, or you do a lot of shorter nape work or really precision work around the ears, I don't do a lot of men, but for my shorter haircuts, I have my precision shears in my drawer just so I can really cut around the ear and I can really, really get into the nape. And I'm focused in a smaller area, whereas the Silk Cut Pros, I was trying to move through the hair as quick as possible, use larger sections as long as I had control over the hair.
Can you explain a little bit, maestra?
Las tijeras de 6.5 tienen diferentes tamaños de tijeras. Por ejemplo, la 6.5 es para lo que utilizó para este corte de pelo. Y lo que utilizó son hechas en Japón. Y hay diferentes para qué corte de pelo va a utilizar. Ese es especialmente para este corte de pelo. Hay para corte de más corto, el que se corta alrededor del perímetro, y es como para el corte de pelo de hombre. Pero tiene mucho que ver cuáles van a utilizar.
Ok, ahora me toca a mí, al vendedor estrella. Ok, hay tijeras 5.5, hay 6, 6.5 y las 7. Las tijeras tienen garantía de por vida. ¿Estás escuchando bien lo que estoy diciendo? Olivia Garden tiene un programa muy importante que, how much they pay when the $50 when they change the shear? $50. Ok, tiene un programa muy especial, Olivia Garden. Si se les descompone o ya está viejita, si ya no cortan, pagan ustedes $50 y les dan una nueva. Y eso es de por vida. Cada vez que la quieran cambiar, nada más van a pagar $50. ¿Ok? Si costaban, por ejemplo, $200 o si compraron $300, vale la pena porque nada más pagan ustedes, en vez de la que las manden a afilar, que muchas veces ya quedan muy mal y ya no quedan iguales, usan el programa de Olivia Garden, que viene un cupón, lo guardan, y directamente Olivia Garden les da la garantía de por vida y solamente pagan $50. ¿Quedó bien entendido? Ok. Thank you very much.
Yeah. feel like I pay right around $50 with a tip to sharpen my shears. So now I don't sharpen my shears ever. I just send them back and get a brand new shear. And I just want to say they're not recycled shears. They're not melted down and recreated from that steel. They are a brand new shear that you're getting every single time that you send yours back. They give you a new one. So I never have my Olivia Garden shears sharpened. I just send them back and get a brand new one. And I do have multiple pairs. So, I mean, I always recommend having 2 to 3 different pairs of shears in your shear kit if possible because they're all made to do different things. And then when you send one away and you're waiting a little bit of time to get it back, it's not a big deal because you have your other 2 still. The dry haircut shear is probably equally my favorite with the one that's getting passed around right now because I do a lot of dry hair cutting. It has a little bit more of a blunt, thicker blade in it. And the ends are actually knocked off. They're not pointed. So these are for dry hair cutting. They're not as much for precision work. And the point at the end, what happens is when you take the hair up and you texturize it, it actually shows what you created rather than blending it all together. So if you have
Alfred, sorry, what is the price for the bow dryer today? It's on the list. Can you tell me? Somebody see in the list? No, no está. It's not there. I think I'm not sure, but the price is $249.99.
But the dry haircut shears, like if you have someone who has finer hair or you have someone who has super thick hair and you cut layers and they just all blend together. You're like, I just cut 172 layers in your hair and I only can see 2 of them, right? It is like, ah. So this is nice because with the blunt end, everything you cut, it doesn't go seamless. It actually kind of brings out that texture a little bit more.
$249.99. Okay. Sí, no. $249.99, solamente hay 3 si la quieren hoy. O tarda una semana en llegar después, ¿ok? $249.99, ese es el precio de la secadora al día de hoy. ¿Ok? Thank you.
Yes. And we do have razors.
Con sus cepillos que vieron, perdón. Ahí está el precio. Ahí está el precio, $139. Ahí está el precio, ahí pueden ver el precio.
I was also spending $1,500 to $2,000 on shears before I was with Olivia Garden. I was using like fan out shears and it's not a bad shear, you know, it was fine. But I like Olivia Garden shears more than my super. I have a whole case of expensive shears. They're there. I can use them in the salon. It's not illegal for me, even though I work for Olivia Garden. I don't touch them. I always go to my Olivia Garden shears, and maybe you could share the price for the different shears, but they're so cost effective. And the fact that I never have to sharpen them and I can just send them back is like game.
Can you explain a little bit?
They don't need to send it back to them. We'll exchange it for them.
Okay, una cosa muy importante que cabe decir al dueño, que me gusta un fuerte aplauso para Alfred. Ustedes me la dan a mí, yo se la entrego a él y él se las cambia y nomás pagan $50. Ok, no tienen que mandarla. Ustedes me la entregan o me la mandan, cualquier cosa, y yo las llevo a la compañía, le doy la garantía. Y cada vez que quieran usar el programa son $50. Only $50 plus tax o no tax.
Everything has tax.
Okay. Todo tiene tax, okay?
And a couple things that I feel like I want to share with you specifically about this brush. So if you have clients that get really frizzy, if you have clients that have thicker hair that are taking longer to blow dry because you're having to smooth and smooth and smooth, or curly hair that you're trying to blow out, you know you're still going to have the volume, they have curly hair. These bristles, actually the nylon bristles, so these don't have any floor bristles, just the nylon bristles, they're actually like a little bit like rippled on the actual bristles, and then you see the ridges on the brush. That combo actually creates a little bit more tension. So even later today on anyone, if you wanted to like grab this brush and that brush and just go into someone's hair, and you'll notice the difference of the pull, of the grip, of the control, and of the tension. So it adds a little bit of tension. It is ion, and it is ceramic. And what that means is it's helping to dry the hair faster, and it's actually locking in the moisture. So a lot of times brushes will say they're ceramic, but they're only ceramic on the outside. And as soon as it gets worn and it chips off, they're blow drying your hair with basically a metal brush, and it can be burning the hair. So the ceramic is going to be all the way through the metal part of the brush, the ceramic part of the brush, and it's going to lock in the moisture, which is going to give more shine to the hair, and it's going to help it to blow out faster rather than suck the moisture out when you're blow drying the hair. So this one, amazing. I do have a reel, you'd have to dig a little bit, but I have a reel on long curly hair where I did a couple different techniques with this brush. I also did a curly hair blowout on my page, which is at Drea, D-R-E-A _darling on Instagram, and I can write it or you guys can ask me if you want it. But I do have that using the Power Grip Nanotech brushes as well. This is one of my go-to favorites. This is just one that's always going to be in my drawer. I have this one, and I have the larger size. I'm sorry, did you want to jump in?
No, that's okay. I'm after your
Okay.
explainer.
Give me a favor. Always give me the name for the product, okay?
Okay. So this is the Heat Pro round brush. This is also the Heat Pro. And these are created to be similar to like a Denman brush. You're kind of familiar with a Denman brush. You can flat wrap with it, almost use the head as a roller set. Your hair would be great to blow out with this brush, to flat wrap. So these are Heat Pro brushes. This is the Heat Pro round, and this is the Heat Pro 9-row. We also have a 7-row brush. I also feel like on coily hair, African American hair, this is great for like to do a coiled style, and you can pull through the hair and actually get it on here with the tension and just twist and twist and twist and pull down on a wet coil style. So I use this a lot on my African American clients and on my clients who want to go home with a wet coiled style or do a wet coil and then set them under the dryer and let them be while you start another client. So that's what I use this for, flat wrap. I also like to use this if a client has a major callus here, right? And they want to bang, or they want...
Why? You talking about this one or you talking about that one?
That one. So ese es para pelo súper rizado, ¿verdad? Para cabello moreno. Para agarrar especialmente alrededor de la línea facial, lo más rizado, para estirarlo, ¿verdad? Ese es especialmente para eso y puede también formar como un rizo largo. Ese es especialmente para ese, me gusta. Ese no siempre debemos de tenerlo. El otro, tengo entendido que da más brillo. Da más brillo al cabello cuando lo está secando, pero un cabello más mediano, no el resistente.
¿Tiene alguna pregunta? ¿Ustedes son los que mandan? ¿Preguntas? ¿No? We continue.
El cepillo...
It's coming, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
So if a client has a cowlick here, a weird hair pattern, and they want to have bangs or even just a short curtain fringe, what I do first is I go through and I let the airflow help me, right? I'm always pushing the airflow in the direction that I want the hair to go. I will actually use this brush and I'll go down and then I'll go back and forth a bunch through here and down and back and forth. And I'll do that so that I break up their natural pattern, and then I can kind of go through and just open that up where I want that to be, or comb it down where I want that to be. So this kind of helps to break up a little bit of those natural parts or natural patterns in the hair. So that's one way that I use that. And then this is the Heat Pro round brush, and this is a go-to for me. This is ionic, copper, and ceramic. The copper works as a heat conductor. So a lot of times when you're round brushing, if you're not spinning your brush, but you kind of just hold it and spin your arm, the heat, the part of the brush that the heat's going to, is the only part of the brush that's getting warm. With copper, copper is a conductor. So if one part gets hot, it spreads and all of it gets warm. So the whole brush gets warm and it almost works as like your curling iron, but it's your round brush. So I feel like I can dry the hair very, very quick with this. With Olivia Garden, I said this has to move because, you know, we get stuck in our iron, and so that is an option as well. If you're doing texture and you need to touch the end, there's a part of it that doesn't have the actual plate in it, so you can hold onto it and not burn yourself. I asked them to have the plates be floating, so they have a little bit of a cushion and a give. So when you're flat ironing, you're creating curl, because when you teach your clients to curl the hair with the flat iron, they go, that's the first thing they do, and there's a crease. So like going in softer handed to create curl with the flat iron, these blades have a little bit of forgiveness in them as far as creasing the hair. So this flat iron is really amazing for that. And I'm going to talk through this technique a little bit. I'll try to like move around, so I'll have my back here and there to you guys. I'm so sorry about that.
So, prácticamente ella ayudó a diseñar esa plancha para el uso del peinado. Ella lo diseñó, ayudó, no lo hizo, ayudó. Y tiene muchas funciones para hacer diferentes tipos de peinado. Y es de cerámica.
So I'm moving through this technique and I'm holding the iron horizontally as flat to the head as I can. I'm also making sure to not elevate the hair too much. And when I first started out, I want to determine where I want the curl to open up. And usually that's going to be at the cheekbone or at the chin. So in this case, this is about at her cheekbone. See, it opens up.
How you say cheekbone?
Cheekbone.
Yeah, a cheekbone. Cheekbone. Okay.
So cheekbone or chin is usually kind of, but we're always thinking to accentuate the best features on our client. So if you want to bring this up because you want to make sure it opens up at their eyes because they're beautiful, or their cheekbone because they have great bone structure, or you want more drag because you want the expansion to start to happen here, then you would have it open up for the first time in those places. So I kind of determined where I wanted to open it up, and that's where I started it. Holding the flat iron horizontal, moving horizontal, kind of back and forth, and pushing as I go is kind of the movement that I'm making with the flat iron.
So, prácticamente lo que está haciendo ella, usando su forma de la cabeza para acentuar o para hacer más resaltar el pómulo de la cara y la barbilla. So, aquí entre medio se hace la onda más larga y acá un poco más rizado, porque hay que amplios y no taparlos, ¿verdad?
Have any of you guys done some of this already before?
¿Alguien lo ha hecho eso?
Okay. So I'm holding the hair and I'm feeding it, like I'm pushing it with my thumb into the flat iron as I go. And that's going to create my C-section one way and the other. So I'm kind of pushing and feeding the hair in. So I'm moving side to side and kind of clicking as I move down, holding the hair flat to the head. This is also a great way to create a little bit more of that really dramatic kind of vintage look, how we talked about doing the modern dry finger waves. You could just leave it in this shape if you wanted on shorter hair. So that's very fun, or people doing like a theme party. That's a really fun option. Girls that are a little more edgy and mod, that are going to the dance, that don't want a traditional updo, if you do something like this on them, that's like a really fun thing that they like. Even doing it this way, like on their fringe here, is a really cool kind of mod take on this type of style.
So, prácticamente lo que se puede crear con esta plancha es las ondas didácticas, que no ya son didácticas, sino ya son con la plancha. para acentuar más el peinado. Depende, regularmente muchas personas, las jovencitas quieren ver eso, pero no tanto de updo, un peinado alto, ¿verdad? Sino algo sencillo, bonito, romántico. No, I call it romantic.
Yeah, it is. It is. Very, very pretty, very fairy tale-like. So it's not going to be something you do every day in the salon, but it's something you can have in your toolkit. It's something that you can learn and maybe show on social media, or do for a special occasion, or do for a fun photo shoot to get out of the norm. So that's what I would use that for. I also think it's fun to showcase something that's going on the runway right now, you know, these kind of looks. I want to share these two brushes because these three are my go-to styling brushes. This, with Olivia Garden, I said this has to move because, you know, we get stuck in our iron, and so that is an option as well. If you're doing texture and you need to touch the end, there's a part of it that doesn't have the actual plate in it, so you can hold onto it and not burn yourself. I asked them to have the plates be floating, so they have a little bit of a cushion and a give. So when you're flat ironing, you're creating curl. Because when you teach your clients to curl the hair with the flat iron, they go, that's the first thing they do, and there's a crease. So like going in softer handed to create curl with the flat iron, these blades have a little bit of forgiveness in them as far as creasing the hair. So this flat iron is really amazing for that. And I'm going to talk through this technique a little bit. I'll try to like move around, so I'll have my back here and there to you guys. I'm so sorry about that.
So, prácticamente ella ayudó a diseñar esa plancha para el uso del peinado. Ella lo diseñó, ayudó, no lo hizo, ayudó. Y tiene muchas funciones para hacer diferentes tipos de peinado. Y es de cerámica.
So I'm moving through this technique and I'm holding the iron horizontally as flat to the head as I can. I'm also making sure to not elevate the hair too much. And when I first started out, I want to determine where I want the curl to open up. And usually that's going to be at the cheekbone or at the chin. So in this case, this is about at her cheekbone. See, it opens up.
How you say cheekbone?
Cheekbone.
Yeah, a cheekbone. Cheekbone. Okay.
So cheekbone or chin is usually kind of, but we're always thinking to accentuate the best features on our client. So if you want to bring this up because you want to make sure it opens up at their eyes because they're beautiful, or their cheekbone because they have great bone structure, or you want more drag because you want the expansion to start to happen here, then you would have it open up for the first time in those places. So I kind of determined where I wanted to open it up, and that's where I started it. Holding the flat iron horizontal, moving horizontal, kind of back and forth, and pushing as I go is kind of the movement that I'm making with the flat iron.
So, prácticamente lo que está haciendo ella, usando su forma de la cabeza para acentuar o para hacer más resaltar el pómulo de la cara y la barbilla. So, aquí entre medio se hace la onda más larga y acá un poco más rizado, porque hay que amplios y no taparlos, ¿verdad? ¿Alguien lo ha hecho eso?
So I'm holding the hair and I'm feeding it, like I'm pushing it with my thumb into the flat iron as I go. And that's going to create my C-section one way and the other. So I'm kind of pushing and feeding the hair in. So I'm moving side to side and kind of clicking as I move down, holding the hair flat to the head. This is also a great way to create a little bit more of that really dramatic kind of vintage look, how we talked about doing the modern dry finger waves. You could just leave it in this shape if you wanted on shorter hair. So that's very fun, or people doing like a theme party. That's a really fun option. Girls that are a little more edgy and mod, that are going to the dance, that don't want a traditional updo, if you do something like this on them, that's like a really fun thing that they like. Even doing it this way, like on their fringe here, is a really cool kind of mod take on this type of style.
So, prácticamente lo que se puede crear con esta plancha es las ondas didácticas, que no ya son didácticas, sino ya son con la plancha, para acentuar más el peinado. Depende, regularmente muchas personas, las jovencitas quieren ver eso, pero no tanto de updo, un peinado alto, ¿verdad? Sino algo sencillo, bonito y romántico. No, I call it romantic.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's very, very pretty, very fairy tale-like. So it's not going to be something you do every day in the salon, but it's something you can have in your toolkit. It's something that you can learn and maybe show on social media, or do for a special occasion, or do for a fun photo shoot to get out of the norm. So that's what I would use that for. I also think it's fun to showcase something that's going on the runway right now, you know, these kind of looks. I want to share these two brushes because these three are my go-to styling brushes.